Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum dear students. I am Mrs. Fozia Afzal. The topic of my today's lecture is your unit number 4, first aid. Beta, the objectives of our today's lecture or the learning outcomes are that at the end of this lecture you must be able to know the importance of first aid. You must be able to know how to respond in an emergency situation in our daily lives. And you should learn how to handle minor cuts and scrapes. And finally, you must be able to know how to maintain a first aid box at your homes. Okay, first think for a while that if you come across a person, an injured person who needs your help, what will be your immediate response? I think you are likely to give your response in two ways. First, that you might get panic yourself, and you may even make his condition worse than before by mishandling him. And secondly, if you respond in a more responsible or sensible way, you may give him your help by utilizing some standard precautions to minimize his pain and to reduce the risk of making his injury more worse than before. So you know that this quick response from your side that you have given to this injured person is called first aid. In other words, we can say that first aid is the first and immediate medical assistance given to any person suffering from either a minor or serious injury with aims to preserve life, prevent the condition from worsening, or to promote recovery. So you know that a person who is taking care of an injured person who wants to give first aid to that person, there are some specific aims that should be very clear into his mind, that why at all he is giving or why at all he is extending his help to that person. These aims can be defined as 5 P's because all these words are starting from P. These are the keywords that start from P. So these things should be very clear into his mind while he should be very mentally strong and remain calm, cool and calm, so that he can give the injured person moral support. So first aim that he should keep into his mind is that he is there to preserve the life of that victim. Secondly, he wants to protect casualty from further harm. It means that you are there to support him so that his injury doesn't get worse. Then you are there to give him pain relief by managing his pain through some painkillers or like that. Then you want to prevent worsening of his injuries. And finally, your aim should be to promote recovery. And all these aims should be very clear into his mind while he should be behaving in a very cool and calm way so that his patient also feels relaxed. Okay students, you must have read the first aid lesson, that is unit number 4, as it was your yesterday's home task. Now we'll just summarize this lesson, and we'll discuss some of the important points of the lesson. Before that, these are some important words that we should know. Assistance. Assistant means help. Critical, very serious or crucial. Immediate, urgent. Crisis means emergency situation. Scraps means bruises or any minor injury. Unconscious means insentient, और जिसको आप उर्दू में बेहोश कहते हैं. Infection, the state of being infected. Elevate means to raise or to lift. Accessible means within approach of everybody. Then dislodge means open. Resume means to restart. Spurts means burst or to overflow or flows. Debris means any unwanted particles or rubbish. Tetanus is a serious infection that results in nervous disorder. Adhesive means sticky. And stitches are sutures or a surgical procedure for closing a wound. So these were the words that you must use while reading you must have used while reading your lesson, and it was your yesterday's task, vocabulary with reading. Now come to the lesson. We'll summarize and we'll discuss some of the important points under 3 headings. So first heading is the importance of first aid. Your first paragraph number 1 can be summarized under this heading, that in this paragraph importance of first aid has been discussed. As you know that accidents and emergencies always happen unexpectedly. So in this paragraph the importance of first aid has been asserted, that all of us should know the standard procedures, the standard precautions and simple medical techniques to handle the persons who need our help in their accidents or in their emergency. So first aid training should be administered at every level and should be carried out using minimal equipments. So this was the importance or significance of first aid, that it is often life-saving and we should extend our help in their crisis. So the next heading in your lesson is how to handle cuts and scrapes. So handling minor cuts and scrapes, the first and foremost thing is to stop bleeding. As you know that excessive bleeding may cause a person even to die. It may lead a person to even death. So the first and foremost thing that we should focus on is to stop bleeding by applying some gentle pressure on that, and we should lift or raise the injury so that the blood flow is stopped. And secondly, we should not keep on checking that if this bleeding has stopped or not, because it may dislodge or it may open the wound once again. The clot, that is the natural healing process, it may open once again if you will start looking at it, that if, whether bleeding has been stopped or not. But you must take care that if bleeding is not stopped, then you must seek the advice of the doctor instead of keeping on handling yourself, because this is something very important. Then the next step, after the bleeding has been stopped, the next step is to clean the wound, because might be that there is some unwanted particles in that. So you should rinse it out with clean water, and we can also use soap, but soap is sometimes very allergic, so we can avoid soap, but soap can irritate the wound sometimes. So we should try to keep it out of the actual wound, and we should use it in the surrounding areas of the wound. Then if there is some debris or unwanted particles, then we can use tweezers that are sterile. Okay, if debris still remains and we are unable to remove the unwanted particles, then definitely we should seek the advice of the doctor, so that there is not any risk of infection or tetanus. Then after cleaning the wound, next step is to apply an antibiotic. Antibiotics do not heal the wound, but it makes the healing process faster. Body's natural healing process work faster by applying an antibiotic. Next is to cover the wound with the clean bandages or sterile gauze. We should also keep on changing the dressing. But if a person is allergic to adhesive stickings, then he can switch over to adhesive free dressings or sterile gauze. And he can also switch over to the elastic bandages. Then there is a very important thing, that even if we are taking care of the patient in every possible manner, but even then there are some signs of infection, then we must see doctor at once. So what are the signs that tell us that the injured person is having an infection? So these are the signs that maybe there is redness, or increased pain, or there is drainage or fluid coming out of the wound, and there is warmth or swelling. So if all these signs are appearing, then we should seek the doctor's advice at once. This is very important. So the next heading that we'll be summarizing is how to maintain first aid kit, and what are the essential items that should be present in your first aid kit or first aid box. This is first of all, there should be a handout which is called a first aid book, where some simple medical techniques are over there to guide us that how we can help an injured person, and how can we save him to get his injury even worse than before. Second is band-aids or plasters. Then there should be some elastic bandages, then gauze and adhesive tape, then antiseptic wipes, alcohol swabs and cotton wool. Safety pins and tweezers are also essential. Then there should also be a pair of scissors in your first aid kit. Latex gloves are also very important to handle the injuries or wounds. Then there should be calamine lotion in your first aid kit. A clinical thermometer is also an essential item, because you have to keep a record of the temperature, because you know that temperature is a sign of infection. So thermometer is also a very essential item in your first aid kit. Then there should be analgesic tablets which are called painkillers. They can treat mild pains. So these tablets might be like aspirin or paracetamol. Students, now you have already read it, and now we have discussed and summarized the important points of your lesson number 4, and now you should be able to attempt the questions, comprehension questions, which are given at the end of your lesson. These are on your page number 44, and this is your exercise B, and now you should attempt all these question answers. These are very easy, and these are all based on these headings that we have just now discussed. What we have discussed, just a quick review. First, we have discussed the importance or significance of first aid, that this is very essential for every person to have basic knowledge of first aid, so that he may save even the lives of the injured people. Then next we discussed how to handle minor cuts and scraps at our homes or at our workplace, and then finally we discussed how to maintain a first aid kit that may be of great help in the crisis management. This is an activity that you will be doing with the help of your parents, and this is something very important for you also, that you will maintain your own first aid kit with the help of your parents. Now I hope that you must have understood the lesson thoroughly, and to conclude the lesson, we can say that having the knowledge of first aid is simply can be the difference between life and death. So all of us should try to have the basic knowledge of first aid. Thank you and take care.